Good evening. Thanks for being with us. The letter was written by the Pentagon in 2007 and clears the contractors from criminal prosecution. We start with breaking news in Box Elder County, where police responded to the scene of a burning body tonight. The blaze is burning right now at 900 North, 600 West. Chris Jones, live very near the scene. And Chris, can you tell us what's going on? What have you learned so far? Otherwise, an attorney would have brought up things like mental and physical abuse in his past, things that made him the murderer he is, and perhaps a jury would have only sentenced him to life. The Unified Police Department tells us a woman, 34 years old, she was leaving the school, she's an employee there. In the amount of time that the officer stopped the car and got out to help him, he had the handcuffs off, he managed to squeeze through this opening. Now, I'm telling you, I probably couldn't get my shoulders to this opening.
The stun gun.
I don't know, cattle are pretty large animals, are they not? It looked like a rodeo of some sort as police were trying to lasso the cow. The whole ordeal was recorded, and you'll only see it right here on 2 News. Aggravated murder charges filed today against Ethan Stacy's alleged killers, his own mother and his stepfather. But first, a tragic end to a troubled life. Child TV star Gary Coleman has died here in Utah. Good evening and welcome to 2 News at 5 o'clock. Family, friends, fans all shocked by Coleman's passing today. The star was taken off life support shortly after noon after suffering a brain hemorrhage. Chris Jones is live at Utah Valley Regional Medical Center tonight. And Chris, have you been able to find out anything about the circumstances surrounding his death?
Fields, back to you.
That ought to be interesting. Such a tumultuous life after that show. Thank you so much, Chris Jones. We'll see you at 6 o'clock. Our other big story tonight, the accused killers of 4-year-old Ethan Stacy are now both charged with aggravated murder. The charges filed today allow prosecutors to seek the death penalty, and Brian Moseley is outside Davis County Court tonight. Brian, have prosecutors said if they will pursue the death penalty? All right, thank you very much, Brian. A 6-year-old girl is in critical condition tonight after a tragic accident on her swing set today. It happened earlier this afternoon at a home in Woods Cross. Authorities tell 2 News the child was wearing a scarf and somehow became entangled in that swing set and was choked. The girl's mother found her, cut her down, and she was flown to Primary Children's Medical Center. New information tonight in that deadly crash in Ogden Canyon. Deputies say 2 cars were racing near Pineview Reservoir yesterday evening when one of the cars lost control and slammed into a tree. 16-year-old Myra Serrano was killed. 3 other teens are in the hospital tonight. The Weber County Sheriff's Office says investigators located a red vehicle wanted in connection with that crash. Police are now questioning an 18-year-old driver. The murder trial of the man accused of killing Kipling Davis will now be held in Salt Lake City. Timmy Brent Olson's lawyers have been fighting to move that trial out of Utah County, saying Olson would not receive a fair trial there. He's accused of killing Davis in 1995 while both were students at Spanish Fork High School. Davis's body has never been found. A Utah County man taken into custody accused of trying to hire his friend to beat up his pregnant girlfriend. The reason, an alleged plot to cause a miscarriage. 19-year-old Mario Castro Garcia is accused of offering the friend $200 to beat the 18-year-old woman. The friend said he refused. Castro Garcia will now face a long list of charges. A hero's welcome at Hill Air Force Base today, where 300 airmen reunited with their families after a deployment to Afghanistan. Dan Rascone was at that happy homecoming today. And Dan, how long were these airmen overseas? It's nice to see them get home safely.
It is.
Well, it is official. The war in Afghanistan is now the longest in American history. Next month, the war enters its 105th month. And as the military continues a new offensive, there's no end in sight. By summer's end, 30,000 more U.S. forces are scheduled to be in that battle zone. As the nation prepares to honor its war dead on Memorial Day, another grim milestone for this particular war, 1,000 American men and women in uniform have died in that fight. The Memorial Holiday weekend is upon us, of course, and if you need to fill up before you hit the road, here's a bit of good and bad news. Gas prices in Utah have dropped a few cents over the past few weeks, but according to AAA, Utah has the 3rd highest gas prices in the country, if you can believe that. We pay about $3.05 a gallon. The only states paying more, Alaska and Hawaii. Yeah, they're a long way away from here. The national average, $2.74 a gallon.
Did the victims' family members also watch last night?
There were 3 family members of victims who were there to witness this execution, and Ronnie Lee Gardner, he had the option of filling 5 of the seats, but he told his family and his friends he didn't want them there to see him die. Now, we are told that the warden had a private conversation with Gardner as they walked toward the execution chamber. Once there, he was strapped into the chair. They pulled back the curtains, and we were able to see what happened over the next few minutes.
Mr. Gardner was pronounced dead at 12:17 this morning.
Ronnie Lee Gardner sat in this chair, his head held up by a black strap across his forehead. Warden Steve Turley approached him with a microphone in his hand.
Warden Turley asked Mr. Gardner if he had any thoughts or feelings to express, to which Mr. Gardner replied, "I do not."
The warden then took a black hood and covered Gardner's head before leaving the room. Within a minute, 2 booming reports came from the .30-30 Winchester rifles being aimed through these 2 slots in the opposite wall. We could not hear the countdown nor see the guns, so the noise caught us off guard and the target on his chest tore open. There were also 2 smaller holes in that target.
But then when he was shot, it clenched into a fist. And his thumb continued to move, and his arm twice moved up.
All the witnesses saw his left hand clearly clench, then release. But in a matter of 10 or 20 seconds, it clenched again, and Gardner's arm moved.
I think most of us were startled to see the movement.
A doctor examined Gardner 2 minutes after the shots were fired and pronounced him dead. We were allowed into the chamber and saw that all 4 bullets passed through his body and tore into the wood behind the metal chair. It was sobering to watch as an observer, and undoubtedly more difficult for those who had to carry it out.
It's been a balancing act of being sensitive to the families that have lost loved ones and to the family that lost a loved one tonight.
The past 24 hours here at the Utah State Prison, extremely intense emotionally. You heard it in the voices there of the executive director, Tom Patterson. Security very high here. The prison on lockdown until that execution was complete. Ron and Mary, back to you.
Fields, when it comes to taggers, do police catch very many of these guys?
They certainly don't catch a lot of them unless they become really prolific or they commit other crimes. And there's a real misperception about this, that all of this has been committed by gang members. Well, one police officer told me today that probably 70–80% of it committed by young people looking for attention. This scribble of painted gibberish appeared.
They worked on this for a really long time.
Scarcely 2 weeks after the concrete for this 800 South median dried.
Exactly.
Tara Mason says the taggers must come in the middle of the night.
Came up real fast. They get the garbage cans, the power pole down there.
Drive around Salt Lake City or anywhere in the valley for that matter, and you will see it on the garbage can signs, poles, and brick walls.
We get it everywhere. We get it everywhere, east and west side.
Nancy White, the Salt Lake County Graffiti Program Manager, says nothing is sacred, no neighborhood immune.
It's a really big problem this year. We've had our biggest year this year, and we're cleaning it up every day.
Whether this is for notoriety or it's considered art, it is costing us all money. The counties, the cities, they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on this. And private property owners, there's no telling how much they spend to clean up this mess.
The public demands
White says
it.
people are sick of it, and that's why the government cleans it up.
I didn't know
Mason
that it
had
jumped
tagger
on.
friends growing up, but has a different perspective as an adult.
It's vandalism, you know, and it doesn't make things look as good as they normally would, and it's a waste because now they're going to have to come and fix it.
In this spot we're standing at right now, a shut down gas station probably has 5 or 6 different shades of paint as they try to keep the tags off of this business until they can sell it. And to give you an idea of the numbers, in Salt Lake City, 305 graffiti cases reported last year. We have 2.5 months ago in 2009, already 304 cases. Mark and Shauna, back to you.